Hello and welcome to the Hobby Breakfast Show. We're going to be going through the FAQ, our thoughts. Have they done the right thing?
Yes.
Yes is the ultimate answer. But we're just going to be discussing various points. So, what should we do first?
Legolas.
How has Legolas changed?
You could use might on his deadly shot, which
which
everybody did anyway, as far as I can tell.
Okay,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that wasn't a harmful FAQ then.
No, that was absolutely fine.
Is this an FAQ or a balance?
That was a Q&A.
That was a Q&A.
So it wasn't a errata.
Okay. So should we go through each of the PDFs one at a time?
Yes.
Okay.
Do that.
Let's do it in order that's on the website. So what?
So, Armies of the Lord of Rings. We already covered that one.
Okay. Can you not do that?
Hang on, there's the Great Beast of Gorgoroth's been changed.
Oh, that hasn't been changed. It's just a clarification.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically nothing's happened.
Did you not like
No, thanks
Sean
for that.
Connery?
No, I don't dislike it. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable as well.
Can you just speak in your
Can you
voice?
not?
Go on then.
What's next?
Defense of the North. So,
Was that everything in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, only
Yeah.
two changes.
Okay.
so the big changes to Defense of the North come in the form.
Nerf to Dragon Emperor.
No. Yeah, anything that hasn't been done. The Beornings and Assault on Lothlorien have had some nuts.
Tell me more.
Okay, I will. Beornings have lost their 5-up save and is now 6-up, which is a enormous difference.
The bears themselves, that is, used to get a 5-up, I ignore your wound thing, and now it's a 6-up. So
Which is pretty huge. I think this is exactly what they needed. I'm pretty sure it wasn't recorded, so feel free to say that I'm a liar.
Bullshit.
But I'm pretty sure this was something that I exactly suggested to you guys.
Yeah.
Also, it's a natural 6. It can't be mited.
Oh, it says natural 6.
It says a natural 6.
Oh, of course, because that's interesting because the Goblin King's Blubbery Mass, I believe you can might because it's not a natural roll of it.
Still
It's
needs
just a 3+. Yeah, but it's
really
like
chunky.
no one like his Blubbery Mass isn't game breaking, and I don't know why it's so different.
I think it's because you are in an army with 2 of them. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
in the
one to
context of the army,
discharge.
he's the like even if he didn't have Blubbery
He
Mass,
doesn't
you
have-
might not try to take him down
He
anyway.
doesn't have 3 fate.
Yeah, he's got one.
There's
fate, I
a
think.
way to prevent him having that rule.
And he's
Yeah, it's true.
lower defense and lower fight and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's a lot easier to beat in combat. Yeah, so you're not having to spend all your resources to do wounds to him like you are the bears, and then have that taken away by a stupid 5-up roll.
Because like the bears is essentially you cling on until they run out of might. You run in, strike, surround them with everybody, and hope in that turn you can kill them. And if you don't, then you're just like, well, fuck.
Or you take the Spider Queen with a bat swarm.
Yeah.
Also, the Goblin King's not naturally that high in fight as the bears,
No, he's
So-
like 5.
so you don't have to always strike against them.
That's true. Okay, well,
Um,
yeah, I talked myself out of that one.
Assault on Lothlorien have had slightly more in the ways of changes. So they've got a new rule where Musga must be the army's leader.
I like it.
I'm surprised, actually, looking back on it, it wasn't already a rule. That must have been a bit of a
Jake
mistake.
Clare just wanted to play with it at tournaments for a bit, I reckon.
You reckon? Do we actually know if he's ever taken it to a tournament?
He probably hasn't.
He
It
probably
doesn't matter if things are true.
It's true.
It just matters if they're controversial.
Fake news is what sells. And also, they've introduced a rule where the Legendary Edition may not include more goblin models than orc models.
I think that's good. People were just maxing out on goblins before, weren't
It was
they?
just a horde.
Because of
To get
the
the
base
base.
advantage of the shooting.
Yeah.
I think it can still work
Mm.
because I think you're just going to have to pay a few more points to take orcs to cover the non-shooting bit, and you still take the goblins for the bows.
It's a lot less viable, though, I think, overall.
I think it's not going to be top table anymore.
But the thing is, like, I think it's definitely
Wow.
it's definitely passed all of us by, as far as I can tell. Like, I've
I've never played it.
It hasn't vastly disrupted any of our playing.
No. But I know a lot of people have found it really annoying.
Yeah.
I think it was an army that still required, like, unlike Beornings, I think it required a bit more in the way of knowing what you're No, that's not fair.
Well, yeah, because like the spiders and the combinations and the bats and like knowing
Yeah.
what to do with all those fairly complicated
I
units.
think the awnings to win in a tournament, you have to really know what you're doing. But I think in a let's just chuck some models on the board
and fight
game,
each other.
the awnings are like, and if you're not really that experienced in the game, it is a bit like, how the hell do I deal with this bear?
Well, and also like the Bjornings themselves, like they're a handful. Fight 5, strength 4, strength 5 with Burley. I can't remember what they are. Like they're a tough nut to crack as well.
It's all really good.
Because like I think the faction I in my head compare them to is kind of like Ents if Ents had like a troop option. And yeah.
Or even Eagles.
Even Eagles. Eagles are a bit more troopy, but yeah.
But yeah, it's like all those all hero lists, they don't have troop options, and then they gave one a troop option, it became a problem. Yeah.
Warren Rohan.
Do we want to cover? I don't think actually any of the FAQs were worth covering. They're all pretty ridiculous questions.
Yeah.
Warren Rohan. There's been another change to also on Helm's Deep. A single tear drips down the face of Mare.
Small violin.
Yeah,
Isenguard's
in his face.
Ballista from this army may reroll results of 1 that hits and scatter rather than any miss.
Yeah, I think it's a fair change. People were abusing ballistas. I don't think it will actually make as big an impact as people think because unless you're playing against Blinding Light, which we've discussed, because you're instead of re-rolling 5 of the results, you're only re-rolling 1 of them, as in the misses. And I think if you roll a 3, you can still might it to a 4 if you need to on the hits. And on the scatter, it does mean that before you could fish for a 6 even if you originally hit, but now you can't, which I think is fine. Again, I think it's not going to make a huge difference, but it will help. It will help balance the game.
And make it less consistent if they're going for a big hero.
Yes, definitely.
Which I think is nice.
Here's my question, and I guess it's quite competitively focused, but if less people now take these shooting lists like the Sultan of Lorien and Helm's Deep, and people will stop building to counter them,
does that make them better?
do they become better when people then do bring them?
Yes.
But that's just how the meta's going to evolve.
Yeah.
Right?
Less people will take Blinding Light. I think the more competitive players will stop using Assault on Helm's Deep now, or at least I won't stop using it because it's still I still love Isengard. But the people who were taking it just because it was competitive will no longer bring it. People will stop bringing Blinding Light as much potentially, like you're insinuating, and therefore when those lists do pop up, it's more of a surprise.
So I think they go from being meta to anti-meta, don't they?
A little bit, if you consider things without Blinding Light anti-meta, I don't know that it's that extensive.
No, but I think what we'll get onto this in a second, but what we think is going to be meta, like Far Harrod's Servant Horde, or do these lists then counter those because of the shooting, trying to dismount Cav and stuff.
It's interesting because scenarios where you need board control, which is most of them, you're not going to have that as Isengard until you decimate your opponent. And with Harad and Farharad and Corsairs, they're going to have numbers, they're going to come at the board, they're going to shoot at you, they're going to have low defense, but if they've got the Shadow Lord or whatever he's called, that's obviously going to massively help them. And I have seen a few of them take that. That will be really bad against, as in bad for Helm's Deep if it faces them. But Assault on Helm's Deep is still going to outshoot pretty much every other army in the game that doesn't have Blinding Light. So yes, if you're not and a lot of the Harrow models are defense 4, which is great for crossbows as well. So it depends on the scenario, as a lot of games do.
Yeah. And a lot of most armies now will bring some maneuverability at the very least, and anything that can close, anything that can close the space on shooting models is going to be problematic.
Yep. We move on then. Armies of the Hobbit. Master of Lake Town has a new special rule, not a change, but an entirely new one, and it's passive. If your army contains the Master Late Town, then he must be your leader, regardless of the heroic tier of other hero models in your army. Additionally, if you are including an Army of Lake Town allied contingent as part of convenient alliance, or if possible alliance, then the Master counts as a hero fortitude, both when building your army and during the course of the game.
Is that what does that mean in terms of alliances then? Because you can't ally
It's
a fortitude, can you?
confusing, isn't it? Because it says, additionally, if you are including an Army of Lake Town allied contingent as part of convenient alliance, the Master counts as hero fortitude.
Yeah.
Grandrill, are they historical?
Army of Lake Town is green with Thorins.
Yeah,
Convenient with a crap load of others. Convenient with Erebor Reclaimed, Fangorn, Halls of Thranduil,
Fangorn.
Iron Hills,
Fangorn's convenient with everyone, is that thing?
Lothlorien, Misty Mountains, Radagast Alliance, Rivendell, and White Council. You could ally them if Bard was your leader.
Yeah. Because he's Valor, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of understand it then. So they're saying you have to take Bard as attacks to do it, rather than being able to do it cheaply. And then Lake Town don't become the cheap ally; they become, oh, I've got to take Bard.
That's interesting. I think it makes more sense as well because Bard's the sort of pseudo leader, really. Like having to take Bard, I think, is more thematic as well.
Bard isn't great in.
Okay,
No, but I think
I kind of understand it now. Then it's annoying that.
Maybe it's like Rages of Ithilien. Maybe it was just a bit of a problem at low points.
Yeah,
just a bit of a.
I think it's just a bit of a weird workaround, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like, why don't you just rewrite his profile? There you go.
You could have just changed him to a hero fortitude.
Yeah, they could have just changed the hero fortitude. That would do the same thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess they wanted to say that in an alliance with
In an army of in a pure list, he's Valor. Yeah.
He's valid, yeah.
And with Thorns, which probably not a thing.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
The next one is a change to the core rules.
Go fly.
Yeah, I haven't read this one.
It has some implications.
It's a bit weird, but it sort of makes sense.
It's changed in the way. Add the following paragraph. When a model makes a shooting attack that targets a war beast or a monster with a fly special rule, well, when they're determining models in the way, they ignore models that do not have any of the following
ways for the creatures to fly.
Be in the way for monsters and war beasts with fly.
And Cav can't either.
And Cav can't either.
For monsters and war beasts with fly.
So Crabane, infantry still in the way.
Right.
Fell Beast, not.
Okay, so the Fell Beast's tail or whatever doesn't count.
So things that people have pointed out. Some people have said, what if I choose not to fly with them and they're on the ground? Now, by the wording of the rules, that's
true. You can walk on the ground,
but they still have the fly keyword. But I think the thing that people are now pointing out is, okay, but I'm choosing to lose that rule, and
so that I can take cover.
Don't get the bonus. But by the wording of the rule, that's not how it works. Yeah. So I think people are a little bit annoyed that it's like they didn't get an option.
There could have been a trade-off there. Yeah, you're right.
They're using the fly keyword or something. If they are flying, no, that doesn't work.
I think the other thing that people have pointed out is that you can have a piece of terrain that's as high as an infantry model, but that blocks it.
Yeah.
Oh, because god, yeah.
So it's created, I think, some inconsistencies in what was a very straightforward. It's now it's less intuitive, even if it does make some thematic sense.
Yeah. That's a weird one. I kind of don't like that's come in because it has just sort of muddied the waters.
I agree. I think that you have to take some slightly strange rules like that to make the game consistent.
Who's been complaining about it? Like, not the FAQ, but like, who's been saying, they're hiding their Fell Beast's tail behind.
People have pointed out that it's a way of nerfing Angmar. It's a way of nerfing certain models, because what models does it actually apply to? Gulliver, Eagles,
I just
Dragon from Moria.
I don't see it as a nerf.
Oh, that was the other thing that people were memeing on. dragons now don't get it, but the drake.
Oh yeah,
Drake,
because you
yeah,
don't give the dragon wings.
Because the drake doesn't have wings.
Well, I think it's just a stupid FAQ. Actually,
I'm not a fan of it.
I think
I've got to say, I don't think that it was such a bad issue that needed fixing.
if I'm considering the balance changes they've made to some of the other lists, if Angmar was an actual problem, I think they could have just done something like properly to them rather than trying to make a rule that applies to everyone.
They already got rid of the thing that was the worst, which was the shade, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, the allying shade. Yeah,
and that was stupid.
That was stupid.
That is the whole FAQ in terms of the big changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we predict what's going to be meta?
A lot of people are saying E-slings.
Nah.
I wonder if that might be a self-fulfilling prophecy that more people now take Easterlings.
Yeah.
I think the real winners are Mordor, Serpent Horde, and Ministerial.
I agree. That's exactly.
They're all doing really well.
Yeah,
and they didn't get nerfed. I suppose Mordor, you can argue the ring race did a little bit, but I don't think that that's significant for them because they have other options.
I think Angmar. I don't think it would have changed very much at all. I think it's gotten rid of the things that people like to complain about.
Yeah, and I imagine that's what they've done, isn't it? It's like, stop emailing us, please.
I think Serpent Horde is just
Serpent Horde, yeah.
Anything Green Alliance on evil side, this feels.
It's Mordor, Serpent Horde allies, Serpent Horde, Farharad allies. Yeah. They are doing really
anything that complements another list really well.
It's interesting that there's like a group of players who seem to know each other who bring those lists as well.
Yeah.
How do Rohan do nowadays? With
I pushed the case for Rohan the other day and was shot down.
Well, I've not seen them doing that.
I mean,
well.
the Defenders of Helm's Deep are doing well.
Defenders of Helm's Deep is fine. But
Podiumed at the event we went to in Warsaw.
Yeah.
I think they're versatile. I think they've got good heroes. I think they're maneuverable.
Yeah.
I think Royal Guard on horse are insane.
I'm building as Ares.
Yeah, so I think Helm could be.
Defenders are doing really well in 90s and 80s. So Defenders of Helm's Deep, 2 wins in 90s, 3 wins in 80s, and they've got 8 podiums so far. There you go.
Well, thank you all for listening. This has been the Hobby Breakfast Show update on FAQ Shizzle. So thanks for joining us. I've been the Mayor, and I've been joined by OT.
Bye.
And Onod.
Quite a formal exit. I feel like I've been on News Night. Bye, everyone.